All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Pat Palingo, Marketing Director at Yale Appliance. With me today is Steve Sheinkopf, our CEO, and Francesco Froio, our General Manager. Today, we are tackling the topic about the tax holiday. It's that time of year again. It's time to answer all those questions about how to take advantage of the Massachusetts tax holiday. With that out of the way, we'll just jump right in. Steve, you want to take over from here?
All righty. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I'm going to tell you how to save money on tax holiday and more than 6.25%. I'm also going to answer questions, some of which were tax day related, some of which were not. We'll get into induction cooking, some reliability as well. Most of our webinars are us answering questions, and this one's no different, right? And I want to remind you, the post-COVID world has not been nice to the home improvement industry. Everybody, like everybody else, there was a boom. You spent a lot of money during COVID on your house because you had nothing better to do, and waited a year for your appliances, and now not so much. And now every company is battling for your dollars, and you can take advantage of that. And I'm going to show you how, right? Because one thing I want you to walk away from this webinar is, if you save just the tax, you lost over 12.5%. Because you're going to save more than you're going to save more on appliances and furniture than the 6.25 after watching this, right? And because most of our weekends are rainy, and this one may not be, I want you to do that without sweating it out in a store waiting a couple hours for service. So you're going to do this now and have your weekend free. And we don't have too many more nice weekends, especially with school coming around. So we're going to take advantage of that as well. But first, the rules. Anything under $24.99 is not taxed, and anything $2,500 or above is taxed at the normal 6.25%. Right, here's some other rules. You can't leave just a deposit. The item must be paid in full. If you're a builder, they don't qualify. However, there's no limit to the singular items you can get under $2,500. So you've got 724.99 items. It's all complies with the rules. However, any item exchanged after the holiday is going to be taxed at the standard rate, right? And here's the other thing. You don't need to schedule delivery at the time of purchase. So if you're doing a home improvement, say in February, March, you want to save the tax plus all the other things I can show you, you can just pay for it and then wait to take delivery. And that's not always a good thing, and I'll show you why in a little bit, right? So just to reiterate, so if you're deciding between the blue and the orange sofa at Jordan's Furniture, right? And you decide that you take delivery of the blue, but you really want orange, it's going to cost you another $156.19. So just make sure that whatever you buy, you like, right? So here's how you do that. Shop now, hopefully you shop before, get a quote and have it converted on tax weekend. You can make a call, they can run your card, and you don't have to come in and wait in line. Or you can schedule an appointment now. Most of us have showroom appointments. You can do that before tax weekend, or you can do a live chat. And the other thing is, even after stores close, you can buy online. You can do that to 11:59. We write 2 months worth of business online between the hours of 6 and 11:59 every tax weekend. So you can do that. Again, you have to know what you want to buy, right? But here's the interesting thing. If we go back to our wrestling picture, Jordan's Furniture is now running 15% off up until tax weekend. And that goes to regular 6.25%. So if you buy in tax holiday at Jordan's Furniture, you're going to lose 8.75%. We're at 18.75%. Other furniture companies are 20% off. Now, why are we doing that? Because we don't want you shopping at our competitor stores on tax weekend. If we can preempt you now with better savings, you'll come shop with us. And there's a lot of other companies doing that as well. You want to look for those companies. And here's the best brands to consider. Now, why? Because these are all the brands that have really good appliances under $2,500. You're not going to find Sub-Zero here. You're not going to find Thermador here. You're not going to find True here. These are the brands that you want to shop for appliances anyway, right? Now, the downside to buy now, pay now, and then deliver later is you've got to worry, because tariffs are really bad for the appliance business. especially for companies that don't have warehouses. You basically are selling a customer the pre-tariff price, and if you have a warehouse, you got to buy it after the tariff. And appliance margins are so thin that stores are going to have a hard time staying open with that, buying at a higher price and selling it at almost a lower non-tariff price. 2 years ago, we had Boston Appliance. They were a $40 million dealer, went out of business suddenly after, even before tax weekend. And before that, Appliance Connection, which was the largest online dealer, and Cons, which was publicly traded, they went out in 2024, early 2025. So just be careful. And for that, and I end most webinars like this for some reason, but you want to check reviews. Certainly Google is good. Anything over 4 or 5 is a store you want to shop at. Yelp, you're gonna have lower ratings, but anything over 4 is pretty good. But as Better Business Bureau is a pay to play. Like if I paid them, I get a better rating, although we have an A+ rating. But you want to look at the number of complaints and how they're handled on Better Business Bureau, and make that part of the thing before you shop, whenever you shop, right? So if we were to go back and talk about what we do tax weekend, is start shopping now, or hopefully previously, get your list ready for tax weekend, generate your quote, and then convert it on tax weekend. Look for sales. There's plenty of them out there that are well over the 6.25%, us included. Be careful about exchanges, because then you're going to pay for the full tax on the exchanged amount. And don't be pressured, because guess what? Black Friday is about 90 days away. So that's it for tax weekend. Our next webinar is how to start your kitchen project, which is going to be a lot longer, and that's September 25th at 12. So with that in mind, Pat, we're going to get into some of the questions here.
Cool. And thank you, Steve. That's really good info. Like you said, we have questions. We have questions that come up every year. We'll just go rapid fire here. Steve, you talked about this briefly, but Fran, you want to just define what exactly counts as eligible for tax-free savings during this event?
Yeah, so really for traditional kind of your tax-free Massachusetts tax-free savings, it's any singular item $2,500 or less. Now, we'll get into some of the details on like the Yale promotion and things like that. But as far as kind of the Massachusetts tax holiday, singular line items, $2,500 or less. Anything over that amount is fully taxable. So it's not, you don't get the first $2,500 tax and then pay the tax on the rest, but it's anything $2,500 or less, singular items.
Yep. We can just dive deeper there. And like we talked about, we have a promotion right now through Friday that's slightly different. You want to just detail that?
Absolutely. So with our Save the Tax Early promotion that we're doing now, if you have an item that's $2,500 or less, and it's one of the one of the brands that we spoke about before. So it's a Bosch, a GE, LG, Speed Queen, those sort of brands. The premium brands are excluded from this. So like your Sub-Zero Wolves, Miela's, Thermador, Trues, those are excluded. But all your other brands, $2,500 or less, you can save the tax early. You don't need to wait for tax-free weekend. We can do that now. In addition, if you pay using a Yale card, now you save an additional instant 6.25% off to bring you to that 12.5% savings. And then on top of that, with those brands that we spoke about, Bosch, LG, GE, KitchenAid, there's an additional 6.25% mail-in rebate. And that brings you up to the total of the 18.75% off. So really a tremendous savings now to be able to get the instant tax savings, an additional match the tax with a Yale card, and the additional mail-in rebate on those qualifying brands as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Fran. Next up, is this truly the best time to buy appliances?
That really depends, because I don't foresee prices going down. It really depends on the tariffs. And if the tariffs are become a bigger part, and for some reason that's still not negotiated into the prices. I mean, we've had price increases, but if they take a bigger bite, this could be a very good time to buy. If not, Black Friday may be good too, but I don't see us doing another 18.75% for Black Friday. So I would say now would be a good time, certainly. I don't see a better time. Do you, Fran?
No, and that's the thing. It's like, sometimes the manufacturer's pricing, like you said, it can certainly adjust, and who knows what's down the road when it comes to the tariffs, because a lot of that is still unknown. I don't see pricing itself getting kind of a much better, if at all, kind of from the manufacturer. And then, like you said, with the additional savings of really that extra 12.5% too, between the Yale card and the mail-in rebate, never mind the save the tax, those types of savings really don't come around really other than now.
Yeah, I feel bad for builders and all. I don't know how they're pricing their stuff because we still don't know. I mean, you hear it in the news, but in I think a lot of manufacturers took preemptive price increases this year already. But you're talking 15 to 65%. Where are we? But even at 15, you got to believe that it might be another price increase on the way.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Jumped the gun, teeing up Fran for this one a little bit earlier, but yeah, there's a couple great offers that can stacked.
And one other thing that the last 6.25%, let's just say you're buying a Bosch fridge at over $3,500, doesn't qualify for the state, but you still get a 6.25% on anything over $2,500 in those brands.
Yeah,
in those qualifying brands. So better than nothing.
That's a really good point. That exclusive rebate we have is good for. There's no cap to the product value.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty significant dollar amount. When you're talking about, a $3,500 refrigerator, that's a pretty significant dollar amount there. And the one thing I always, just to point out with the mail-in rebate, and I think we're probably jumping ahead on some of these questions maybe, but there is some deadlines on the mail-in rebate. So technically, you need to submit the mail-in rebate by September 10th. So you have about a month turnaround time there. But they do give you an additional 30 days until October 10th to submit the serial numbers. So really you have until October 10th to take delivery of the product. Just make sure you're following those details on the rebates. But on those qualifying brands, anything qualifies for the 6.25% mail-in rebate, no matter the dollar amount.
Okay. Pretty much every brand, under any brand, even you can hit a Thermidor microwave under $2,500 and still qualify for the state. Anything over $2,500, the Yale credit card is really on anything under $2,500 on specific brands, and then your extra savings is really still on those core brands on anything over $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
A question about cooktop recommendations, and just a reminder, anybody who's watching us live, if you have any appliance questions, drop them into the Q&A tool here, and we'll have some time at the end. Go ahead.
I would say, I don't know if this is gas, electric, or induction. I would imagine most questions will get induction, so we'll do that. I just shot some videos. The one that I actually like the most is I like the SKS 36 because it's got a 7,000 watt burner in the middle. That's almost twice what a normal induction burner is, which is almost 50% more powerful than a professional range burner. So that thing must be ultra fast. And then you get the bridge burners on either side, and you get if you touch the button, it'll give you the ferrous content on it. Right, so it'll tell you whether your pans will work on it or not. So that's a pretty good cooktop. That's the one I happen to think that's top of the line-ish. Then you get the Thermal Freedom and Liberty, which are good. Bosch has got some good ones. Wolf's got the new LCD one as well, which is very good.
Cool. Fran, you started to talk about this one.
Yeah.
So there are.
So really the deadline there, kind of, September 10th to at least submit the rebate. Even if you haven't taken delivery, you got to make sure you at least go in there and submit to kind of start that rebate. And then you can go back in by October 10th with the serial numbers. So kind of two deadlines that you really kind of want to pay attention to. Ultimately, you have until October 10th really to take delivery.
Question about countertop refrigerator reliability. You want to go on, Steve?
Not good. When the number 5 brand's 19.2% in the first year, that's not good. It's refrigerators, especially with ice and water dispensers, are the number one repair in the store. Either that or bigger professional ranges, only because they get so much going on. That's the bad news. The good news is it's not compressor issues. Even LG's class action lawsuits, 1% over a 5-year period, and it's warranted under that. The problem a lot of these brands have is they don't have adequate service. When you're talking about 1% of millions of refrigerators, hopefully you got thousands of repair guys, and nobody's got that. So, yeah, for reliability, not good.
Question about delivery. Fran, you want to take that one?
Yeah, and so you don't need to take delivery within kind of 2 weeks. Just really kind of the main deadline there would be that rebate to make sure you qualify for that. But you're not necessarily forced to take delivery by really any time. It's just, that mail-in rebate has a deadline for the submission.
Induction products are always popular during this event. Fran, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so I mean, depending on if it's cooktop ranges, but if you're looking for, an induction range under 2,500, I would definitely recommend looking at the LG. LG has really a great price points and great features on their induction ranges as well. That is absolutely a brand I would consider in that price point under the $2,500.
It's funny, cooktops are almost as expensive as ranges.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. You can shop online. And like Steve said, right through midnight Sunday.
159.
Excuse me. Right through the deadline. And yep, we'll process them and get that taken care of.
Yeah, all the premium brands will be, if they're under $2,500, which I doubt, except for maybe microwaves and accessories, they're probably not going to qualify under $2,500. What do I think about combination laundry? It depends on who's buying it. I think for family, I'm not so sure I'd recommend it. I like the combo because it's 110, it's ventless, it's efficient, it's heat pump, and you don't have to transfer your clothes from a washer to a dryer. But it does. You can't reload the washer into the dryer, like I forgot to do today. Now that I mentioned, I forgot to do that. Now I got to rewash. So maybe I should get a combo. But if you're a family, it's going to take you twice as long because you can't reload them, once the washing cycle's over.
And we have one final call for any questions, appliance questions to tackle. We have one from YouTube here. Are there a good gas range without air fry and Wi-Fi? So simple gas range options to consider.
Well, first of all, I can assure you two things. A, don't connect your Wi-Fi because most people don't. And B, air fry doesn't work for anybody. Air fry does not work because it's a large cavity. You can't move air that quick. My neighbor loves the air fry feature, and her French fries come out as a mixed constellation of burnt and raw potato. I mean, I still eat the ones that are kind of halfway in between, but that's just the reality. So I would say buy any range, or this weekend under $2,500, just don't use the air fry and don't hook the Wi-Fi up.
Yeah.
That's gonna do it. Any final words, Steve, Fran, before the weekend?
Yeah, I'd prefer to be anywhere else than a store on tax-free weekend. I really would. I'd rather leave my daughter on a beach. We have so few weekends. I mean, we did 16 consecutive Saturdays of rain. So get a quote find a good store, do reviews in a store, get a quote, convert a quote with a sales guy, with a salesperson you trust, and do it that way. And maybe shop at a store where you can save more than 6.25%. That would be my final words.
Yeah. And really the best deals are before the actual weekend anyway. So, you're really going to get the best value, save the most, and get the best deals really before the weekend. Like you said, Steve, you could be sitting on a beach somewhere over the weekend and know that you got the best deal possible.
We're in the business and we're telling you don't shop.
Don't come in.
Can't get much more transparent than that. But hey, listen, it's still better than nothing. So just be prepared. I know everyone's busy, but go online, do some research, call on the phones, and maybe stay out of the store as best you can.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody.
right.
Got answers some questions.
Have a
Good
good
luck
summer,
shopping this
everybody.
weekend.
Have a good summer.